guys should see now, the mirrors and stuff, we have pretty.
I'll do the tree today. I'll do those. Maybe just really.
thank you Barrett for letting us know that there was no sound. That's great. So everything I just said didn't matter. So we're going to work our way through now. Kind of recap what we did because we had some sound issues. We're working on the round of the head. The big thing that we're shifting here is everything's following the head shape. And then as we get to the parietal ridge, we just slightly shift our finger angle back so that we can create a little extra weight right along that parietal ridge, just so that it builds in a nice shape for the head shape. So now we're working our way back. Again, everything coming straight out from the head. And then right here, you're going to see it. So everything was following the head shape, and then right at the parietal, just slightly shift my finger angle back, build up a little extra weight. So we're building up that weight line right there. Working our way into the nape area. So as we do that, key to this is to make sure that we're working through. And there's no graduation being built up at this point. So I want to shift her head to keep my arm comfortable, because that's going to help stay consistent with the haircut. And we're just following the round of the head, following that head shape. Working through again, parting right on the round of the head. Staying focused on how my elevation is going to be right up at the parietal. So straight out from the head, and then right at the top of the section, slightly shift back. So then I'll work down towards the occipital bone, and then I'm going to stop, shift her head, and then work into the nape. It's really, again, all about comfort in there, so that you stay nice and consistent with the haircut. She just heard that. What a massive delay. So. Oh, this is good. All right, so just continuing through. Now, just to stay comfortable through this, now that I'm working a little bit more on the top of the head, I'm going to shift my hand. This isn't going to change the shape of the head, but it's just going to change the way that I'm holding it, obviously. And still combing the new hair towards the guide. But then once we see that guide, we can go through and cut the hair. Again, still shifting slightly out to build up a little bit of weight around the parietal ridge. So again, you can see that weight line building up in there. Now as I move down into the hair here, I'll still work palm to palm because that's more comfortable. And working down through the occipital bone, just really following, again, that head shape and keeping consistent with the elevation. Make sure that it's at the 90 degrees so that you collapse as much as you possibly can. And make sure when you're working down and you get into the nape area that you're not over directing the hair too much, because then you'll just start to build and push weight over to the side that you're going to have to remove later anyways. So just really focus on following around and following around that head shape. So again, now I'm going to work on top of my fingers as I round the corner here. Shifting my finger out, keep the weight building up right along the parietal.
Can you turn that just a little bit so it's a little more out?
This way?
Yeah, just a little more.
So you can start to see the shape building up. So the weight is here. You see that? So the weight is here. So it'll come back nice. And then it collapses right down into the nape. So it's collapsing down. So still working on a diagonal. I'll work my way right down into the nape. You can see my fingers definitely working the curve of the head. So instead of pulling all this back here, that would be over directing that hair. So I want to make sure that now as I round, my fingers are mimicking the head shape. Here. Work on top of my fingers. And then I'll work in the palm when I get to the nape. One more section, because now once I get to that corner, then I can start working on the other side. So I'll do one more section into the corner, and then we'll work the second side. So on top of my fingers, until I get to that parietal, or to the occipital bone, because the occipital bone is going to curve under. So as soon as it does that, it'll be more comfortable for my hand to take the hair. Still continuing with a slight change in my finger angle to build up weight even in the back here. So keeping that consistent. Shifting into my fingers. Following the round of the head. Right into the corner. So you can see that's our first side. You could take that as long or as short as you want to. I personally, with a mannequin, want to keep this just a little bit longer. But then, once we get done with that, then we can go through scissor over comb, which we're going to do at the end. So let's work on this side, second side here. You'll see a little bit of a different angle on this part of the haircut, because now I'm still going to cut palm to palm, but my fingers will be pointing up. So we're still getting, Brian, let me know if this is a good angle for this.
Hold your hands again.
Right here.
It's the second side. I think they get it.
Yeah. Good. So we're slightly, again, tilting out. But here's the deal. I want to change. I want to comb again because all of this section, some of this hair was pulling up because my fingers aren't long enough. So still beveling in towards the sideburn, but I don't want to cut all the way down into the inside of my fingers because I'm pushing the hair where it's going to bunch up and it's not going to be a consistent line in there. Again, working straight out. Make sure that we don't over direct the hair too much. We're not trying to build up any weight lines except for around the top of that parietal area. So no over direction on the hair.
It's good for the counterclockwise turn after this section.
Okay.
Bits.
Again, diagonal back. Slight tilt of my finger angle, and then continue through the back. If I feel like a section starts to get messed up, I just re-grab it, re-comb it. There's no real rush, because the more you rush it, the more you got to fix it at the end anyways. So just allowing myself to keep it nice and clean and just work through that section and create the shape that I want to. So a little bit of the old hair. Working our way around the round of the head. Now, it would have been uncomfortable, so now I tilt her head a different way. Tilting of the guest's head is all about just making sure that you're comfortable so you can be consistent. Really, it's not going to affect the haircut either way. It's just making it easier for yourself. Working our way through. Now we're going to start to connect each of those sides. So still working diagonal back. Keeping my elevation up. Connecting the two sides together. This is a great exercise to do on a mannequin. You got a short mannequin that you've cut quite a few different haircuts on. They just have really short hair. Just to go through here and work on consistency with a diagonal back round shape, creating that. Can really help your hair cutting a lot, so don't waste those shorter mannequins. Just go through and try this out. Connect right into the back. Thing, slightly dropping that finger there just to build up a little bit of weight, and then work my way through the back at a 90-degree angle. Connect the front and the back. One more section, one more little piece here. Way through, just chalk a little bit. Now, as we work through, we want to check for consistency within the haircut, and we can go through just a little bit of scissor-over-comb. So I'm going to work both sides, and really for this, I cut everything diagonal forward or diagonal back. So now I want to check it diagonal forward. So we're just going to go through and just dust off some of the ends. Work that shape in. I'm not trying to cut the hair shorter. That's not the goal. It's just to make it a little bit more consistent and clean looking. Go through. Should just be little ends to take off. Same back here. Just dusting those ends. Clean up the baseline a little bit. Now going through with the point of a scissor, it's obviously, hopefully most of you would not do this, but if we took, you wouldn't really want to take a trimmer and clean up this line. Just using the point of your scissor is going to create a nice soft edge, which is going to be much more feminine. And just go through and create the line that you want, but a nice soft line so that it doesn't look too harsh. Same thing here. Working through, if you guys can see that. Just dusting it. We go through here. This is a little bit long for me, so I want to go through and just clean it up and maybe take a little bit of that corner edge off. So I'm just going to work through. I mean, sometimes you cut a shape and you just want to adjust it a little bit. So I'm going to go through and do that. My elevation was a little lower than I wanted it to be, now that I'm looking at the haircut. So just going through. There we go. Now I'm going to let down the top. What I'm going to do with the top is I'm going to split it into two. So comb this down. So comb it, split it in half, part it in half. And then I'm going to work high point here, forward. So basically right at the division line of the head, I want to split that. And then we're going to start by working in the back part of the head. We're going to work in pie-shaped sections. Clip this front part away here. And I'm going to start by working the back crown area. And I'm going to start to follow the round, but then I want to build up a little bit of extra weight right at the top. So take out my first vertical section. Find your guide from what you had cut previously.
Can't see that.
Can't see that?
Way behind it.
Because of my shirt. Where's that at?
That I can do.
Of course. So if I could just disappear, that would be great.
There you go.
Okay, so elevation up here. We're going to cut through. Then notice her head tilt. So this would be 90 degrees here. So what I'm going to do is just as I work my way up, I'm just going to shift my finger angle a little bit and build up a little extra weight. Not doing anything too crazy. I don't want to build up too much weight in there, but just that slight little shift will make the back of the head not appear so round. It kind of adds a little bit of an edge to it. Combing again, new hair to the guide. Working my way through. Connecting the front and the back here. Shift finger angle. Build up.
Yeah, what if we tilt the, like, do like a 45-degree turn with you and the mannequin? Like, the other way.
Other way? Here?
Yeah.
Can you see it? You can't see where I'm taking it from, but maybe you'll be able to see
Yes,
it.
that's what I'm hoping.
So last little bit here. No over direction really. just coming straight up, straight out of the head, because I'm not trying to push weight forward or backwards, just keep that nice and balanced through there. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. So vertical section to start.
We need to get white suits.
White suits.
That goes.
There we go.
Listen.
And then this is slightly pie shaped because I start working just straight down from the head here. So I'm working my way through. But straight out. Shift up with my finger. Same thing here. Straight out from the head. Blends it nicely.
Dre just texted much better after the tip.
Yeah, nice. All right. Glad to know those two are watching at home. Okay. Now, keeping that center parting, what I want to do with this is I'm going to work each side back to the high point of the head. So this will keep me from getting too much of an over direction, pushing too much weight forward. What I really want to do is just a slight over direction back. Grab a little bit of that hair from the high point. And again, we're going to work this in a triangle section. So not really triangle, but in a layering pattern, following that round. We have the weight built up. And I'm just going to go through with a slight point cut. What that'll do is add a little bit more texture to the hair. This is going to be a disconnected top, and it'll get more and more disconnected as we start to over direct this back. But definitely goes with the style people are wearing right now. A little bit of a pompadour feel to the front. Go in, cutting on the diagonal there, point cut. Work the rest of it back. What this is doing as I'm following the round here is it'll put the heaviest point right in the center of the haircut. I'm going to do the same thing, everything coming back, working our way on the opposite side. Probably having a hard time seeing this, but everything's just being slightly over directed back. Maybe I can show you guys.
And then actually online, it looks.
It look good. Well, good thing I moved then. All right. So this will show you kind of the over direction. So it's just to right at that division line, working through with the point cut. Remove that bulk from the front of the hair. So we will have a longer front, but that's going to allow us to go in, kind of create some style. I want to blow it dry, and then we're going to go through and do a little bit more point cutting and texturing right in the top area there. So, grab the brush.
I like the single too, though.
What's that?
I like the single too.
Yeah. when you're teaching your guests how to style this haircut, right now the haircut's not done, so this is looks a little extreme in the front. What we want to do is, I'll show you kind of how we're going to blow it dry as soon as we get the length in there. But yeah, there's definitely specific things that will allow your guests to be able to do this style very easy. But it's a simple hairstyle. I think that's the cool thing about it. It doesn't take much at all to style this hair. So definitely easy to work with. What I want to do is just go through with point cutting. Again, just going a little bit deeper into it, but we're going to work our way right at the base of the hair. And then as I get through that, I'm going to slide my fingers out, just creating little holes within the top of the haircut. It's going to make it a little bit lighter and create scattered pieces of the layering. I like going through and doing this on the top of the haircut because I'm not trying to really build structure into that. So it's not something I would want to do on the sides, but through the top is cool because it just lightens it up nice. So I'm going through, slightly sliding my fingers through it. I think that's a much better technique than using, let's say, a thinning scissor, because with this I can really see where the hair is thick and where I want to remove more bulk. So if I see an area that seems a little bit thicker, I can go in and really work that area with the point of the scissor for a little bit longer, and then just lightly go through the other area. So now we've got this long kind of disconnected front. So what I want to do with this part, just to take out some of that weight, take out some of the length, I want to separate just the fringe area out of the haircut. Put the rest back. That'll be fine because we're going to build that back anyways. I'm going to go through, start right in the center. I'm going to take out a chunk of this hair here. I'm just going to pinch the hair. What I want to do is create a really light fringe so that I'll be able to push it up and back in the hairstyle. So I want to pick my length. Let's say I want it to be right at the eyebrow, so I'll pinch it right there. I'm just going to go through and slide into it and cut. So half closing my scissor as I slide in there, and we'll work my way across this fringe area doing that. And that's what's great about over-direction in a haircut, is I can over-direct everything to the middle and then push that weight forward so I have something to do with it later. Instead of trying to lift all this hair up and take out all the weight at once, now I can go through and customize it a little bit more because I have more weight to work with. So this is not being over-directed at all, just straight out from the head, pinch and go through and slide cut. Edge here, same thing, pinch, slide cut through. Now, it's pretty much finished at this point. You could go through in detail, however you want to, whatever fits your guest. So for blow drying this, and what I'd like to share with each guest that I was working on, let's see, let's do a little bit of worked up and so we'll work with two products. We've got a worked up hairspray, using the Paul Mitchell spray for this. And we're gonna go in, that's just a really light spray that's gonna add some texture to the hair. Then what I'm gonna do is go in with a wax product called Shaping Cream, and that's gonna help build up the thickness and really keep that hold in the matte finish for this style. So each of my guests, what I'm gonna tell them to do is they could just tilt their head in the morning, blow dry their hair and run their hands through their hair, blow dry it back and just off of their face, just to get the base of the hair kind of molded to go that way. Then we'll go in, you could even use the worked up during that or a light working spray for that. Then at the end, we'll go through with more of like a texture cream and we'll run our hands through that and really kind of solidify, put the shape into the head. So I'm going to go in, blow dry this back. So you can see right away, using the heat of the blow dryer, that's going to automatically give it that kind of backwards feel. Add a little bit of working spray to it. Get that texture in there. A lot of times with me, product is just about layering it in and not going with one product and going full force with it. It's just little layer by layer, and then you can build up a shape better. Now we're going to use a cream-based product. This is shaving cream. A little bit of that in my hand. If I need more, I'll grab more, but I don't want to go too crazy with the product. What I like to do is just kind of start about mid-shaft with the style and run my hands through it. And not really right in the front, but just in the mid part. Start working, kind of wiping my hands off down the sides of the haircut. And that'll push down those sides. Then I work my hands through the hair, which is definitely going to create a lot of texture in there, and then that will build up. I can start to lift up and build out the shape, and all those little tiny hairs that we went in with the point cutting and cut are going to help hold up the shape of this haircut, and also leaving that little bit of weight right at the parietal ridge will help hold up the shape as well. So, you know, it's all about where you're putting the weight in the haircut that's going to help make you a little bit more successful with it. She looks like what? Me? And I created me. But it's a really cool pompadour kind of pixie feel to the haircut. If you want to cut this, you know, make it even more of a pixie, you could take it even shorter around. But I think just adding in that texture, using that point cutting technique, even on shorter hair than this, would be really cool. I don't think you're going to get as cool of an outcome on a mannequin cutting the hair that short, so that's why I wanted to leave it a little bit longer. And this is definitely a haircut that people are requesting a lot and celebrities are wearing often. So hope you guys enjoyed this class. We're going to have many more of them. We're working out the kinks with it, so thank you for hanging tight. I know we didn't have sound at the beginning, but and people won't cough at the next one. Sorry, I'm just kidding. So thank you guys for watching, and hopefully we'll talk to you soon.